My name is Ryan Tani. I'm originally from Salt Lake City, Utah. I am a violinist, singer, and conductor. And so I like to wave my hands around like a crazy person for a living, but being a conductor is so much more than that. What I love about it is having the opportunity to nurture an orchestra, to be a teacher, to be just a passionate advocate for the arts in a community, and that's what I love to do. And so it's great to be here in Great Falls Symphony. To be a part of this process of the music director search is just an honor. I'm just so excited to be here.
Yeah, and what was it about this particular job that drew your interest and made you say, I'm going to go for this?
I have to say it was the teachers that I had when I was a kid. You know, I would sing in choir and I would play in orchestra, and I always had conductors who I thought were really inspiring. And what made them so inspiring was that they saw something in me that I could not see for myself, that they saw what I could accomplish. And I felt really drawn to that idea. And I also just saw how much fun they were having up there, and how music can be so free, and how music can express so many things that we experience in life, emotion, to telling meaningful stories, to executing on an instrument with incredible virtuosity. I was just so captivated by that. And so I have my teachers to thank.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you too, obviously the teachers that helped shape you as a musician played a big role in your life as far as influencing you. Anybody else that maybe was a musical influence, or maybe someone that you said, that's who I want to be or what I want to be?
Well, I remember growing up and going to the symphony, and I was just in awe by the sound that an orchestra was able to make. And so, what really captured my spirit was that the sounds that they were making were so much greater than the sum of its parts. And I think that that's true of choirs for sure, and it's also true for orchestras. And so when you're asking what sort of inspires me, it's the potential of sound for so many people to create something really powerful and meaningful. And I think there's a lot of parallels with that in society and our life, and just opportunities to come together as a community and create something really meaningful and grateful. And I just felt so excited to see people who were, not necessarily musicians, but who loved what it is that we did. And more than that, they needed something that we had to offer. And so I'm inspired by those people who seek out the arts, even if they're not musicians. I just feel very fortunate to have been surrounded by these kinds of people who have uplifted me and are just passionate about music.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Could you describe your style, your musical philosophy? I guess if as a conductor, what?
My musical philosophy. 42. No. I think that music has the incredible power to bring people together, and reach a part of us that I think is impossible to reach through words. And I really believe that. I think that sound, especially the sound an orchestra makes or a choir makes, is able to really say something where words leave off, as the famous quote goes. Music begins where words end. And I think that's my musical philosophy. I think that it's amazing what orchestras and choirs do, because as opposed to playing on your own, you have to compromise when it comes to rhythm and it comes to intonation and things like that. So there's an incredible amount of cooperation. So when I think of myself and my musical philosophy as a conductor, I see myself as a facilitator of the people in front of me. I don't see a musical dictator saying that this is how things go. And that's what I'm actually so excited for our first rehearsal this evening with the Great Falls Symphony, because it's about me sharing something and the orchestra shares something back. And then we find a way to say what the composer intends. And our job is to honor the composer, see what they wanted to say, tell the story that they wanted to tell. But, you know, we're here making the music, so we have to channel that. And it's a huge responsibility, but I think it's also in spades a huge joy.
Okay. I know that with this job, and probably with other conductor jobs too, there's a huge emphasis on education and working with young people and getting them excited about music, and talk about the importance of that to you. Obviously, it was part of your life, but why is that important, and how, I guess, involved will you be if you get this job in that aspect of it?
One thing that I think is singularly amazing about the Great Falls community across the country and in the state of Montana is the amazing connection between the symphony and the youth symphony. That is a huge passion of mine. I think that when young musicians particularly are able to have access to mentors in the community, when they come to a concert and they see people on stage that they maybe take lessons with or they know in the community, I think that that's an incredible thing. It's inspiring, and that's why somebody would want to be involved in music. And I think that's something that communities the size of Great Falls or other communities that are greater don't often have. It's that sense of the people on stage are our neighbors. They're our friends. They are working down the street from us, and they are creating this incredible beauty. And I think when it comes to education, it doesn't just start and stop at the schools. And I think it starts with all of us. I think we all have something to learn, and the more we can access that and be open to those kinds of experiences in music or otherwise, I think the stronger our community is. But to answer your question very specifically, I think that one thing that I'm passionate about is seeing young musicians excelling at something and finding that there is as deep as they can go with this world in music to explore and to search for new kinds of sounds and hopefully make those sounds with other people, because making music with other people is more fun than making music on your own, I think.
Cool. Sorry about all the flies in here.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, and so then I was going to ask about community involvement. I know some of the conductors in the past have been very involved in the community. Is that something that you would if you get this job, are you going to become a part of the community and just be out there learning so much about it as you can?
Yeah, so I think there are two elements here. I think one is the role of my position as a music director has a number of different audiences, right? Of course, I have the musicians on stage and nurturing that group of musicians and finding new talent and bringing them into the fold for whatever symphony. And then there's the other audience on the opposite side of the stage who's listening to this music and who is saying, why is it that I'm here to be at a concert? And I'm very good at these long-winded answers. I'm going to get to your point. I think that when it comes to community involvement, that has, of course, that has something to do with my job as a conductor, but I think that is just something I think that is important to me as a person, that when it comes down to it, a symphony orchestra or a choir is all about people. The music happens and it goes. And maybe the notes stay in our mind if it's great music. But when you walk out of a concert experience, I want you to think about, when you go to a concert and you leave that experience, what you remember is that feeling of people coming together. And I think that it's just something that's really important to me as a person to be involved in a community, to find partnerships between organizations that have like-minded goals. I think we're all here to try to, in our own way, of course, advocate for our own organizations, but find a way to serve our communities. And so I think, yes, of course, it's an important part of the job, and that's going to be an important question for interviews like this or otherwise. But I just think it's a really important thing for everyone to be involved in their communities.
Awesome. And so as I was looking at your bio on the information and all the bios of all the potential candidates, I guess, you actually have kind of a Montana tie. You've been up here before, and you worked at you did some musical work at Montana State, right?
Yes. Yes. My wife is from Montana. She's from Billings. The Great Falls folks won't hold that against her. It'll be great. But she is a wonderful violinist. But she was a founding member of the Billings Youth Symphony, and played a lot with Billings Symphony with Ann Harrigan, and it was really, really, really fun. But we met in college, so there's a different situation there. But yeah, because of her career path that brought us to Montana, where I lived in Bozeman for 3 years. As you mentioned, I worked at MSU for a little while on faculty there, teaching music appreciation classes and working a little bit with the symphony orchestra while Dr. Stewart was on sabbatical. And worked as well with the Bozeman Symphony as an interim chorus director for a few years. And just been so great to be involved in the Montana music scene and to see all the different cross-pollinations across the different Montana orchestras, and to see that incredible collaboration and the family that it really is. It's really something really special I haven't seen anywhere else.
So your wife probably got her fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's right. My in-laws are driving up for Billings for the concert, so
okay.
it'll be fun.
Yeah, and the concert itself, what can we expect? What's the theme, and what kind of music are we going to hear on Saturday night?
Yes, Saturday night, October 4th. Don't miss it. And if you want to hear me talk more about it, because apparently I'm really good at just rambling, you can come to our pre-concert lecture or pre-concert talk at 6:30. Non-ticketed event that is on stage at the Mansfield. Come and hear us talk about this wonderful program, which is called Star-Crossed Lovers, and it has to do with the timeless story of Romeo and Juliet, and two different takes on this story. One setting, which is in its original form, quote unquote, Romeo and Juliet, the ballet written by Sergei Prokofiev in the middle of the 20th century. And we're going to not play the whole ballet, don't worry, or just snippets from it. And it's a program that is so colorful because it tells the story brilliantly without using any words. And I think that it'll be something that you just can't miss. The powerful strident strings that represent the conflict between the Montagues and the Capulets, to skittering gestures that represent a young and youthful Juliet, to tender and passionate love between Juliet and Romeo, and the sundering that ends up, spoiler alert, breaking the two of them apart in death. And on the other side, we have the same story with West Side Story, Leonard Bernstein's phenomenal score, which I hope that many listeners are familiar with. And of course, it's wonderful musical theater, but Leonard Bernstein was a serious composer, and this is no less wonderful music. It's really a miracle of a piece, honestly. But that tells the same story, Romeo and Juliet, from a different perspective. Now it's in the mid-century New York. And it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And in between these two pieces, we have a concerto by a living composer, Arturo Marquez, and he is a Mexican composer who imbues so much of his culture and his musical upbringing in this piece, which is called Fandango, and it's a violin concerto, which will be performed by my good friend and colleague, Alana Sedepin. And everybody, I don't care who you have to come to this concert. Whether or not you like classical music, it is driving and powerful and fun and fiery and passionate, and swirling, and it's just evocative music. And so I think in my mind there are some secret reasons to come to this. There's, of course, the narrative one, Star-Crossed Lovers, but I think all of these pieces are so visual that you can't help but create ideas in your mind of what this music means to you. And all the more fun if it's a different idea than the person sitting next to you.
Awesome. Well, I'm curious too. Obviously, tonight is your first rehearsal with. Is that the first rehearsal with?
Yes, it is.
And as a conductor, talk about, I guess the pressure of that and how. I mean, because you haven't worked with these people yet. Maybe you have at some point with some of them or something. But
yeah.
You're kind of coming in off the street, and you've got a week to whip them into shape, or then vice versa. I guess. Talk about the challenge of that as a conductor.
Well, I think the challenge of that is that, and I talk to very important people about this, about family, and that you can't read people's minds. As much as we like to try, it's not something that we're very good at doing. And so when you walk into a room and there's this sense of, okay, what's this weird dude gonna do? Or, what is this orchestra gonna bring? There is a sense of that, but I like to think of it as an opportunity. As I mentioned before, I have ideas that I think about this piece and that I'd love to share, and they will as well, because they will have played this music before. Many of them, most of them, I'm not sure, but they come with expertise on their instruments, and I don't make any sound. So my job is to listen and keep listening, and I think that's the most important job. And yes, there's some pressure to that, and you have to be efficient with your rehearsal, because I have to stop the orchestra, we have to fix problems, we have to push forward in the music, but I think of it as an opportunity, not a pressure at all. I mean, at this point, I feel, as you're thinking about who's the next music director of the Great Falls Symphony, the term often comes up. It's a marriage, between an orchestra and a conductor, or a community and a conductor, and this is an opportunity for us to go on a date, so to speak, and see what comes from it. And I'm so excited for that opportunity. It's just a lot of fun.
See if there's a love connection.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, cool. Ryan, anything else that you'd like to add about this opportunity?
Oh, I think coming to the symphony is really about not just coming to hear classical music because you like classical music. Come to the symphony because it's a part of our community. This arts organization, any arts organization, because a city that makes music is a thriving city, because music is everywhere around us, even if we don't hear it. It's in the communication that we have with each other, and it's about listening. And come, bring your families. Don't feel like you have to wear something specific to come to the symphony or prepare in advance. Maybe some of you will find it's a better experience if you prepare, and then maybe some of you will find it's more fun if you come with a surprise in mind. Just come out for your symphony, because again, they're your neighbors, and if you don't come, they're going to be mad at you for not coming.